Well, here we are for a little soothing nighttime practice. You can see I'm in my cozies, and I'm going to get in here and get some blocks. And we're just going to do a little relaxing practice. I don't think I need any other toys in there. But if you have some blocks, they're helpful. It's not the end of the world if you don't have blocks. If you're gonna keep doing this kind of stuff though, I recommend getting some blocks. Especially if you're not as flexible, okay? So the blocks are going to help give you that oomph so that you don't have to try so hard. These nighttime classes, practices are about getting into that yin, the feminine energy, the surrender energy. It's not about trying, it's about being. Okay, so we're gonna get into just being. I don't really know what that's gonna look like. It shows up different every time, right? I got my bolster, grab a cozy pillow, grab a couple Bibles or something, like an old dictionary, if anyone's got those things around. I remember dictionaries, they used to be all fat. Just trying to think of the thickest books in the house. That you could put your hands on. So we're just gonna start by I just sat on the computer for way too long, and now I want to loosen up my spine. So let's get into a tabletop position. And let's just kind of take a moment to get into this tabletop position. Really notice the head, relax the neck. Make sure that the fingers are pressed down. So while you're loosening up your neck, you're pressing your 10 fingertips into your mat. I like to sway my little tail here, wag the tail. Make sure that the feet are pointed or curled under. Whatever you're doing, it's intentional and it's thoughtful. All right, I'm placing my feet down, right? And then I'm going to roll my shoulders forward, up, and back. Ooh, forward, up, and back. And let your breath, guide the practice. So breathe deeply. Notice your breath. I'm a little congested right now. I don't know why, but you can hear my breath is a little audible. Let's take a deep breath in through the belly. And exhale out the nose. Let's arch the spine. Take a deep inhale for the arch. Look up, stretch through the front of the neck, and really reach the tail high. Feel the stretch in the belly. Pause here and just kind of hang out. Notice your arms. Notice you can wear your shoulders as earrings, or you can get length in the shoulders and the neck. And maybe you kind of flow between those. So this is kind of the time for some authentic movement. And round the spine. And arch the spine. And do that a couple more times. Rounded and arched. And then let's do the little rotisserie chicken. We're going to go pivot on around a central axis point. Inhaling and exhaling. And switch the direction. This is your practice. This is time to feel good in your body. And then let's take a little back bend with the extension in the hips. Ooh, that feels nice. And then let's bend the knees and reach back into a child's pose. Stretch the arms out. And then in this child's pose, let's walk the hands to the left side, feeling the right side body stretch out even more. Allow yourself to have an audible exhale. Letting it all go, relaxing from the day. Reaching over to the right side. Now you're getting the stretch on the left side body. walking yourself back up to tabletop, adjusting your clothes as needed, getting the hairballs off of your yoga mat. All right, so now we're going to move into this lunge position, and this is where the blocks come in handy. All right, so the blocks are going to be on either side of your front foot, and we're going to make sure that the knee is over the ankle, so the shin is perpendicular with the ground. Just got a little Charlie horse in the back of the leg, so I'm going to floss that out. Okay, so I'm going to get nitpicky here. In our lunge, this is about opening up the front body. Okay, so we're getting into the quads, we're getting into the psoas, we're getting into the belly, the obliques. So give yourself a wide open angle over there. And then making sure that we're not dispersing tension, but we're releasing tension and being kind of, methodical about what we're getting into. So we're getting into the front. So for me, it's my left hip. It could be your right hip. Doesn't really matter because we're going to get both sides. And then you can be like toes curled under or toes pointed. So decide which one you want to do. And breathe into a couple breaths. Sometimes after I've been here for a moment, I'll curl my toes under and I'll lift my knee off and I'll kind of like get a little more length in my leg. Because after the fascia, the skin has kind of like you've gotten into the elasticity of your skin and your muscles, and then you get to another edge. So I'll set my leg back down. I'm being mindful that I'm not jamming my kneecap into the ground. I'm allowing my mind's eye to go where I feel tension. And I'm going to send my breath into that space of tension to alleviate the tension with my breath. Using my hands. My hands are very active on these blocks to support my upper body. And I'm going to get a little bit deeper into it. I'm going to bring both hands on the inside of that front foot now. So my hands are stacked and my leg is on the outside. And I'm going to let my leg kind of drop out. And that's going to get a little bit deeper. And that's because my body's asking to get deeper. If your body's not asking to get deeper, stay where you are. This is especially being alone in your home and watching this video. There's no one that you're competing with. You're on your own process. I'm just wanting to show you other ways to go. If you're like, I don't feel anything, then we want to move on. You're still feeling something in that first iteration, stay there. We want to get deeper. Right hand is going to go on the inside of that right thigh. And I'm going to open up toward my right knee. Noticing things that we're grateful for, feeling sensation. Like how amazing it is to be in this skin where we can feel all the subtle nature. Today I visited with a friend, a friend of a friend really, who's paralyzed. And it's just like hanging out with people that are in a wheelchair. It's just like, oh my gosh, I am so grateful for that I have feeling in my legs. So like, let's start to unravel out of that. So instead of like hating on this sensation, like let's find gratitude for having sensation. We're going to floss it out now. So what I'm doing here is I have pointed toes. And I'm going to straighten my front leg and then I'm going to bend my front knee. So I'm going, moderately quickly because I'm flossing. I'm not holding. This is not a static shape. I'm stretching and bending the knee. Straightening and bending the knee. And then let's pause with the front leg straight. Let's walk these blocks a little closer in, maybe around the knee. And now I'm still pointing my toes. Now this can be pretty intense. And remember, I've been doing this a long time and I do this all the time. So I have a different range of motion than you. This is where we're going toward. So toes are pointed, leg is straight. I'm feeling heaps of sensation in the front of my ankle, in my shin. And you tell me, how's my neck doing? I'm really trying to make sure that I have issues in my neck. So, we all are working on things and I have a tendency to do weird things with my neck, especially since I teach so often. I'm like looking around, like, how are you doing? You know, and I want to make sure my neck is neutral here. Whew, that feels good. All right, and now I'm going to bend into that front knee again and get a little loosey-goosey. I'm just going to swing this leg in. I'm going to do something fun here. So my leg just swung in, right? You followed that. The right knee is in front of the left knee and my feet are outward. So you see how my feet are on either side of my yoga mat? My knees are stacking in the middle of my yoga mat. Let's put this block underneath our little tuchus here and sit down. So this is like a little, we call this shoelace pose. And I'm just going to hang out here for a minute and see how this feels. You know, I really don't even need the block. The block feels a little awkward for my range of motion. The block can help you get a little height if it feels too crunchy in the knees or the hips. The bolster could also be helpful. Oh, that kind of feels nice. Oh, and then the feet are going to go away. And I'm just going to pause and just, again, enjoy the sensation. Like we have a choice when we're met with sensation. And in these slow movements, we can often feel more than when we're doing like a HIIT class or doing aerobics or going for a run. You know, sometimes we can numb out and not feel our body or push through the bodily sensations. And in this practice, it's really like illuminating where we feel. So allow yourself to release using the breath, feeling the tension arise, and then surrendering to the sensation. Having some audible sound with your exhale. This is your practice of active rest, of soothing with your breath. Soothing yourself with your breath. Self-soothing. Noticing how the sensation changes after a moment of being in the shape. And then we're going to rock up. So use your hands to help yourself rock up, coming forward. We're going to unravel the legs, push our bolster off our mat, set up our blocks again. So now we're passing through tabletop and might as well run through a couple cat-cows. Or here, there's nothing better than flossing out the spine. You're only as young as your spine is flexible. You're only as young as your digestive system is functional. Okay, now the other leg's coming forward. Which leg did I do last time? Okay, so the second you bring your leg forward, you're going to be like, oh wait, I just felt that leg. So now my left foot is forward, and I'm going to be really thoughtful about what I'm doing here. Knee is over the ankle, and I'm making sure I'm getting that wide angle. So, you know, when we're in a group class and I see you, I'll tell you this, and then I'll notice that people don't do it. People will be over here. Slightly front leg is slightly straight, back leg's at like a 90. That's a no-no. We're dipping into this leg as much as you can, okay? We're feeling sensation in the front of the hip. That's a good thing. Sensation's a good thing. Remember, not having sensation, that's the place we're not going. We're feeling sensation, and we're finding maybe even a bit of pleasure in the sensation. Just taking deep breaths, sending your breath to the spaces of tension. And now I've been here for a couple moments. I'm going to curl my back toes under. I'm going to lift off my kneecap and kind of move around a little bit to absorb all of this space I just gained. I'm going to set my foot back down. Opening up the chest and maybe bowing your head down. You know, take some time to adjust and to be authentically in your body. There's really no reason you have to stay totally still. Like, you don't need to be this like robot movement person, you know, just like if it feels good to like surrender and dip down, do that. Oh yeah, we got deeper on that other side. Let's get deeper on this side. So now I'm going out to the outside edge of my left foot. And just kind of exploring my body as it shows up today. Every time I do this, it's different. You know, like for me right now, I don't want to do this. So I'm going to put my hand back down here. I have a little bit of challenge with my right knee. So my right knee actually wants my toes to curl under, and that's going to stabilize my kneecap. So right knee, I'm stabilizing, and I'm not going to get into that other iteration where you could put your hand on. It actually feels a little bit better with my toes curled under. So we want to be noticing what is my body telling me in these shapes, and how can I listen, you know, with equanimity of like, oh, it just is what it is. It's not bad, it's not good, it's just I'm going to be of service to my body in this practice. Another deep breath in. And let it out. And now we're going to put that foot in the middle of the blocks again, or between your hands. And we're going to straighten the leg. So I'm keeping my toes pointed. And I'm going to floss it out. Bent knee, straight leg. Bent leg, straight leg. I'm just going to floss it out for a few rounds. And then I'm going to hold it stationary. I'm going to rock these blocks up to about my knee height. And I'm pointing my toes here because it's an interesting sensation. And that's what my goal is here. And my goal is to find interesting sensations in the body. There's a phenomena. There's a process that happens with the vagus nerve. That's the nerve that's coming up your spinal column and going up into your brain. So it branches into a Y at the base of your skull. And it has two options as it's branching, obviously. It's a Y. It can go one way, to the left or to the right. One way is going to be in like more of a stress response, and the other is going to be in a calming response. And they're seeing that when we're going into the calming response, or another way to go into calming response is to be deeply curious, is to ask questions. Rather than thinking we know everything and maybe causing a problem from things, going that stress route, we're going to go the route of restoration, of deep curiosity. And then we're going to come out of this shape and we're going to slide this leg all the way in front and over. And so I'm spacing out my feet. I hope you can see this in the video that my feet are on either side of my yoga mat. My knees are together, tracking in the middle of my yoga mat, and I'm going to sit my hips down. They're essentially in between my ankles, right? And I'm positioning myself. Now this could be challenging. If this is challenging, you're going to set your bolster, something underneath your bum. You could also cram a block underneath your knees, you know, to catch your weight. If this is too challenging to be in this position, a straight old, you know, cross-legged position could, if you're feeling sensation in your outer hip there, that could also be suitable. Because the idea here is that we're getting into our outer hips. And we're just going to pause. Now I'm sitting up tall. And I'm allowing the sensation in the legs to just be. I have a lot of sensation in my legs. Mainly around like the IT band, the outer thigh, the outer hip. And I'm meeting that sensation with loving kindness. Welcoming that discomfort. And continuing to sit up tall, and this is one of those moments for belly breath. I'm breathing in and out of my belly. Hmm. We're going to slowly unwind the legs. Let's sit down on our bum. You can use that bolster still, but we're going to come into a different position, a bound angle position for our butterfly. I'm going to sit on my bolster because I'm going soft for this practice because this is my evening practice. I'm not having a competition with my body and what it can do. It's not about that. So I'm making like a diamond shape. And I'm just going to butterfly my legs out for a minute. You know, maybe these blocks go underneath the knees, just so you're not, like, it doesn't, not so much sensation. And now the key here, so I know we're not working for perfection, but we still want to have proper alignment. And there's like a give and take between how much you're pushing into proper alignment and how much you're just allowing yourself to be. So I want to just show you some variations here with if we lean forward. We're striving to keep a flat back in the beginning. So we're keeping the flat back, we're keeping the chest open, and we're going to have the arms rest onto the inner thighs. I'm just taking a few breaths to be in this shape, making sure everything is all loosened up, nothing is cramping, pinching. That's the sensation that we're going to modify if we feel that kind of stuff. But if you just feel like tightness and like tension, that's kind of what the process is. It's when you feel pinching or kind of like nerve pain. That's where we want to adjust to get out of that position. So I'm still hinging at my waist. See, I'm hinging at my waist. Arms are on the inner thighs. And then I have a little bit more room to go, but to go a little bit further, my spine's going to start to round. So now I'm going to round my spine down and rest my forehead on my hands, which are on my feet. And then take another exhale here. And then on the inhale, as your breath starts to come into the chest, let's let the chest rise. And taking your time to rise, and let's do this little elephant walk on the inner thighs. We're gonna press the heel of the hand into the inner thighs, right around the femur bone, and we're swaying back and forth. So I'm going to sway to the right, press into my right hand, sway to my left, press into my left hand. And just walking up the thigh and down the thigh, going toward the knee, and then once you get to the knee, then go up to the hips again. Getting a little compression of the muscles. And then circling your hands around your kneecaps, sending love and kindness to the knees. They take so much of your weight and so much of your activity. And letting the nails get into the skin of the knee, scratching the knee. And then we're going to close the legs like you're closing a book. We're going to set those blocks off to the side. And we'll separate the feet about hip width distance. We're going to sway the knees to one side and pick them up, sway them to the other side. So we're going windshield wiper with the knees. Swaying and swaying. And let's sway off our bolster. Let's keep that little swaying action, but do it on our backs. So I'm going to lay down. Yes, okay. So I'm going to lay down, and again, I'm going to sway my knees side to side. And then next time they go over to the left side, I'm going to keep them there. I'm going to pick up my left ankle and put it on my right thigh. And now it's like, ooh, lots of sensation on my right side body. I'm going to breathe into that sensation, this really subtle twist. Your head could look to the side, your head can stay up, your head can go to the other side. You can move it around. Just when you do movement in the practice, just make sure it's slow and with the breath. Just a couple more breaths here, breathing into wherever you feel sensation. I feel lots of sensation in my obliques, around my iliac crest, this hip bone right here. I feel a lot of like pulling, but I did a pretty hardcore ab workout the other day, so I'm wondering if that's what that's from. You know, and sometimes when I feel the sensation, I caress it with my hands. You know, we all have so much power and heat and energy in our hands, so I'll like hold it with my hands. And be mindful of the breath in your belly as we transition. So we're going to inhale here. And then before we transition, we're going to exhale and tighten the belly. And then take the foot off that knee and then roll it up. And then over to the other side. Now the knees are pointing to the right. I'm going to pick up my right foot. I'm going to plant it on the outside of my left thigh. And so now it's a different sensation. I don't have as much sensation on this side body as I did on the other side. I'm just going to get real passive here. I'm going to send belly breath. I'm going to send my breath into my belly. That makes more sense. You know, sometimes I say things that are just like really don't make any sense. You know, it's okay. Yeah, I'm a big fan of the like fascial manipulation when we're in these shapes, like breathing in and then exploring your body. As long as we're not feeling any pinch or like compression between bone on bone, we're exploring the tension that arises. Getting curious about the tension, like, oh yeah, that tension's from when I went on the hike, or oh yeah, that tension's because I store a lot of anger in my quads. Not like I'm speaking from experience or anything, but yeah, it all shows up in these slow, subtle yin style practices. I'm going to release my right foot off my left knee. I'm going to bring my knees up. And then my knees are going to come into my chest. Knees in toward the chest. Give your knees a little hug. Roll the knees into circles. circle the other direction. Now, if there's one position that I recommend doing before bed, it's legs up the wall. But I'm not at a wall right now, so I'm just going to do legs up. I feel a little crooked here. Okay, so my legs are just up, and I'm keeping my sacrum on the ground. So I'm not bringing my legs all the way up here, sacrum off. See that difference? Hips are staying down. Make some circles at the ankle. So if you want to have a wall here, you're scooting your butt like way up to the corner of the floor on the wall. And this is just a great position to switch to get into your circulation before bed and bring it all back to the thymus gland, helping out the lymphatic system. You can even do little taps on your sternum here. That's really good for your thymus gland. Thymus gland is part of your endocrine system. It's like the garbage disposal for your immune system. Letting it all out. Point and flex. This is when you point and flex, you're kind of doing this pumping action with the calves. And so getting this simultaneously, the pumping action of the calves and the tapping on your thymus is just like great medicine for your immune system. Okay, now I'm going to hold my thighs. Separate my legs a little bit. Cross the legs. Separate the legs. Cross them with the other leg in front. Just playing around a little bit. Even getting into a little happy baby where I grab the outside edges of my feet and bring the feet up like the soles of the feet are on the ground, on the sky. Knees in toward the shoulders. Striving to keep that sacrum down. And play around with doing this like bow and arrow type of position where you're bringing one knee in or one foot in, extending the leg. Bringing the other foot in, extending the leg. My little cabinet here is a little too close, but I'm going to make it work. Let's do that one more time on each side. And then let's just call it a night. I'm ready to get in bed. I don't know about you, but let's just stretch our body long like a long pencil. Toes point, fingers reach, lengthen out the body. And then allow the body to surrender into this starfish position. Spread out your legs, spread out your arms. Breathe into the belly. And just take a moment to pause. Ask yourself how you feel. Notice how you feel. Have that conversation with yourself. That conversation you wish your mother had with you. Treating yourself with that loving kindness. How are you feeling, darling? And having no judgment when hearing the response. Maybe you were lucky enough to receive that as a child, but not everyone was. And now's your chance to ask yourself these tender, loving questions. And then choosing how you respond to the answer. Just loving on yourself for all that you've been through, all that you're going through, and all that will come. That you have the skills, you have the wisdom, and you love yourself enough to put yourself first. Stay here as long as you want. It's really great if you can just slide into bed from here. Otherwise, I suggest dimming the lights in your house, going about with candlelight if you can, brushing your teeth in that calm environment that you've just created. And let's roll over to the side in a little fetal position. And slowly propping ourselves up. Coming into a seat. Rolling the head a couple times. Hands to the heart. Take a moment to thank yourself for carving out this time today. Sending loving kindness to all my family everywhere. Sending loving kindness to my community. Sending loving kindness to everyone in the United States. Sending loving kindness to everyone in the whole world. May all beings be happy, be healthy, and feel love. Thank you for practicing.